Uh, Hi, Katya.
Elena. This is awkward because we've just talked for like 10 minutes.
We were just talking like 10 minutes in Russian and trying to switch to English so you guys would understand us. And this part will be for everyone. Katya, can you tell a bit about yourself, where you located right now, and where you're living, what you're doing?
I'm based in Luxembourg now. It's in the heart of Europe between France, Belgium, and Germany. And I'm based here since 2017 as I came to do my PhD and got stuck for what seems like forever. So yeah,
Oh,
I'm still here.
that's interesting. I just realized you went to the Europe at the same time when we went to US, almost like a year later probably. We
Mm,
moved to US in 2016.
right, I moved 2017.
Yeah, so we moved to US in 2016 and also stuck here.
And you're
Uh,
based in which state?
Richmond, Virginia. So it's 2 hours from Washington, D.C. From my kind of biased point of view, it's the best location in US because you have 2 hours to drive to capital, Washington, D.C. You have 2 hours to drive to mountains, Appalachian, not mountains, but mountains.
Still.
Not really kind of Alps or something like really tall mountains, but it's really nice, really big in a fall. And 2 hours drive to Atlantic Ocean, to Virginia Beach. So kind of perfect location, really nice size of the town. And I am working remotely. I'm a permanent remote employee, and my company office in Texas, which is really weird. For me, it was absolutely new situation how you can work remotely and to be a permanent employee, not freelancer, not contractor. Um, so you did the PhD and PhD in AI, large language models.
Yeah, well, yes, like now you can say that it's AI because everyone is talking about AI, but in fact it was in computer science and the field was natural language processing. So when I joined the department in 2017, we were talking about word vectors, which is, it seems so far away now because after that the NLP industry began very quick ascent, very rapid development, and quickly moved from word vectors to AI, basically.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's really interesting how fast everything developed in the last few years. And I'm trying not to be just like a old person saying, "Oh, everything so quickly changed in the last couple of years." No, I think the mostly it's mostly because it's developing of all this breaking through technology, but also I think COVID impacted that because it's kind of joined people together who working in absolutely different countries, and it's open borders. So it was kind of a positive impact of the horrible side of pandemic.
Yeah,
And
it's a really interesting point actually, because people had never thought before about Zoom meetings being
exactly.
productive, and now everyone is just doing Zoom meetings and actually being productive.
Yeah,
So
and now
mm,
it's kind of our baseline. So now we
exactly,
we
yeah.
don't even think what it's weird or it's not convenient. I'm doing audits for informational security for ISO 27001. We have a couple new clients for ISO 42001. 42001 is artificial intelligence management system.
Which is a
Not
very
a
new standard, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
only
very
appeared
new
last
standards.
November or December.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's very new standards, and certification bodies is in the process to get the accreditation for that. It's just kind of emerging right now, and it's really interesting because it's the same as application of artificial intelligence or application of informational security. Before, it was only for IT companies, like purely for
Hmm.
IT companies, where not IT industrial manufacturers or research development. They would hear about this and would say it's not applicable for us. So now basically AI applicable for everyone. Even the small company marketing department will write their materials using AI sometimes, right? ChatGPT.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And the same as security, after a lot of data breaches and in industrial manufacturing company, in a gas oil company in US, now it's kind of widespread and applicable for everyone. And it's such an interesting time when, for example, you probably also came across to that. When you do the audit, when you talk to the companies who is the tech savvy, they understand everything. You can kind of talk about more technological breakthrough and another level. And some company who just get to know those another level of risk or another level of opportunities, if I would say about AI, and they just eager to implement that. And it's so interesting what it's widespread now. So what do you think about that? What would be the next step for AI, for wide application of AI, where you see the most promising areas?
I'm a bit biased here because I recently came back from a conference of researchers in biomedicine, and I see it's a huge area of AI applications right now, development of targeted medicine, drug discovery, and so on, which is yeah, it's massive, because if you use AI in these fields, you fast track drug development, drug discovery, which takes a newly developed drug to a patient much faster than it is currently happening. So I think that's one
Wow.
really promising area. It's very
Wow.
interesting.
That's
Now
very,
it takes years to get from a new drug discovery through clinical trials to
yeah.
a
And if I
patient.
correctly understand, there is a huge layer of rare diseases, what not very kind of widespread, and they don't get a good financing because of that. So it's really hard to establish the good clinical trials because there's not too many patients, and they usually struggling to get the proper pharmacological support. And that's probably the great niche, right? To involve AI in that.
Exactly. But
Interesting.
I can see many other areas. I feel like you touch any other industry, and the potential for AI is massive. Education, personalized learning,
Definitely.
manufacturing, like fault detection and so on. It's like security. Very interesting times we are
Yeah,
living in.
yeah. No, absolutely. And I was just kind of realized when probably we talk to you about this a lot when we did the training for 42001 for artificial intelligence. I just was surprised what a lot of people don't see the difference between machine learning and generative AI. And when you start to kind of comprehend, and it's even hard to comprehend for me what kind of I did a lot of courses on the generative AI, trying to kind of understand all implication and all application, and then you're trying to understand what generative AI, they basically can do relabeling of data. They can took data from absolutely different place and apply it to kind of unusual objects, what not wasn't applicable for this database before. And it's literally kind of blowing mind concept, but the artificial intelligence, it's actually artificial intelligence. It's not just optimizing your steps, it's just not optimizing your way of thinking. It's actually can think and generate ideas on its own. So
I
it's
would be very careful in saying that it can think, because it's a very slippery slope.
can you tell
Technically, it
more about
cannot
that?
think. Well, it's not a brain; it cannot think. We just have to be very careful with this anthropomorphizing. You know what is
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah,
right term? Like talking about AI as a human or sentient being.
yeah.
because it's a very dangerous area. That's why people starting to realize, even when talking to children, children talk to I don't know, to a Roomba vacuum
yeah,
cleaner, or to a smart house, let's say garage door, and actually
yeah,
address these robots or these automation tools as human or sentient.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there are many, I found there are many resources on how to talk to your children about all these automation tools in your house, because you don't want your
Interesting.
children to think. For example, I remember myself when I had a Tamagotchi as a child, and my Tamagotchi died because I forgot to feed him, or something like there was a time zone change, and it wanted to eat at night, and I didn't feed him because I was sleeping, and Tamagotchi died, and I was very, very upset. So it's a
That's
very natural to think about these
that's that's really
devices as
cute.
humans. Yeah.
Yeah, I just woke up today at 4:30 a.m. Because my cats start, you see, doing basically that. So they start breaking walls. So I think if Tamagotchi would be real, he would just
Yeah.
break the wall if you will not feed it at night.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand what you're saying, and I
Mm.
see a lot of these comments in internet where people try to use AI and either didn't kind of learn how to do the proper prompt, or AI started hallucinating, trying to mimic human decision making process. And after the first this response, people saying, "Oh, it's stupid. It doesn't have any application." So this probably kind of also lack of understanding where it's lie, where the opportunity and where this the kind of field of opportunity lies. It's the same with security, and it's interesting. The biggest risk with AI can be applicable in kind of security really wide range, because it can analyze touch point for the network. It can analyze the penetration attempt or something like that, especially social engineering attempt, phishing emails. And the biggest risk, as it could be strange, because the more complex database it's analyzed, generative AI, the less we understand how it's making decision, if it's right decision or wrong. So the biggest risk in this area is to give rights to AI to block users or assign privilege rights, because we basically don't understand on what ground it's based this decision. So even though it's allowed us to see some kind of new patterns in the informational security, they still need to be the human who will analyze that and understand if it's right decision or wrong decision. And I also kind of see the lack of understanding on that. People thinking, oh, now we have AI that can do everything for us. So
Absolutely. I think if there's the most, if someone asks what's the most important point about human AI interaction in general, I think that's the most important point, that you cannot trust AI completely blindly. Still, a human has to be supervising. I've just posted a review on a book that I recently read. It's called The Economy of Algorithms. I highly recommend reading it. It's a very good 101, AI 101 for general public and businesses alike. It's looking at the AI from business perspective as well. Lots of
perfect.
interesting use cases and so on. You can find the review on my LinkedIn. I just posted a couple of weeks ago. And the author talks about AI as minions. So you can use them, but you still have to, supervise them and still look at the outputs they produce. We are not there yet. We cannot trust them blindly.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. And I think I always think the people who want to use AI to use it as a very smart, but at the same time very dumb assistant. So you can rely on this assistant in certain things, but you also have to recheck the results. It should be your output. It cannot write for you. It cannot do your job for you, but it can help you to do your job very efficiently. To kind
Yeah,
of
absolutely. Yeah.
um,
There are so many applications in day-to-day life. We use the outputs of AI systems, AI algorithms, and so on, and we still have to check them. We can trust some simple ones, but the consequences may be quite serious if we don't.
What you're personally using AI for? Not, let's say, not at work, not for your full-time job, but you personally, what you're using AI for?
Let me think. Well, I'm a translator, and I use AI for, let's say, not translating completely, but to rephrase. For example, if I have doubts about the style of a sentence,
Yeah,
or I want to make it simpler, I use AI without entering any confidential information, of course. Just be very
yeah,
careful, but
yeah,
it really
definitely.
helps me a lot. And it's machine translation is now amazing, and machine translation is a subfield of AI. And I use ChatGPT to just ChatGPT or Gemini, or I don't want to just say ChatGPT. I
Yeah,
use multiple algorithms, multiple systems, but I use them to brainstorm as a coach,
ideas
as
how
a
to
friend,
translate.
just ideas, just having some ideas, asking it, give me some options or give me alternatives. More of this, less of that, just like fine tuning my thoughts. Really
I
interesting
just
to
realized
talk to.
I just realized when kind of you're saying that people may not know you. Um, Katya, linguist, she's did I say it's right in English? Linguist? Is
Linguist,
it?
yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
linguist, yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so she knows the more than three languages. Japanese, Russian, English, and she is a translator for more than 15 years. I guess even more than 20
That's true.
probably.
Yeah, around 20 now.
Yeah. So the level then when you're saying the brainstorming translation, I know what you're saying about. So it's on a level when some people don't even understand. It's not like a machine translation to make your work faster. It's knowing Katya. It's more like a level to choose the proper word, to accept the challenge of different concept of the languages and
That's
try to
right, yeah.
find the proper word for the translation. I remember we had a lot of this conversation about the proper Russian translation, and it's so challenging sometimes. What I kind of eager to participate in these challenges from the amateur point of view as a not translator, but I can see the challenges you're facing in the translation. So how to translate some words to the different language and still preserve the meaning. Yeah, I can guess the AI can be really good on brainstorming that. I'm using
Yeah.
AI to learn. And this is my kind of favorite part to learn some concept. Some of the thing, it's of course it's kind of doesn't know well, but just to do this brainstorming quizzes, this technique. I don't remember if I told you about this. It's active recall. It's called active recall. When you're learning something and you to better remember the stuff, and I'm always struggling with my memory, you have to pose the questions for yourself, like your own teacher,
Yeah.
to pull this new knowledge from the memory, and it's called active recall. So I'm using AI for this active recall thing, trying to help me to brainstorm these questions, and it's really helping. And from this perspective, the opportunity what AI provides for the learning, for e-learning, for creating brief quizzes, it's amazing. Work instructions. I think right now no one has any excuse for dry dead formal languages in the work instructions because you always can make it more alive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I think learning and teaching has been really changed by these developments. I also use it for learning. I was wondering if you, as a IT security professional, think about the other side of IT security, how the bad actors use AI to break through the IT security systems. Because I also went to, I think it was at a conference somewhere, there was a presenter who talked about it, that we are on this side using AI to detect security threats, but they are also using AI to develop, let's say, social engineer texts,
definitely,
or break through some walls, and so on.
From my perspective, and I'm auditing a lot of companies who has a really strong security posture, tech-wise. But at the same time, most of the company don't understand what the biggest threat coming from, not the tech side, but from the social engineering, from the kind of human error, because the AI has unlimited possibilities to analyze your data in a social network. For example, if you're posting on a Facebook in a public account open for everyone, your pets' names, your kids' names, kids' birthday, this is all potential passwords. So this is all potential. You probably have some location, you have your favorite cafe where you're working, it's your favorite Wi-Fi spot. So the possibility of hacking, and not you probably, some people think, why I would be interested for the hackers, but you can work in a company who potentially can be vendor or suppliers, another company with very sensitive information, and this is backdoor access through the social engineering that is very popular, and everyone have to understand. But when you're posting something in a different kind of pieces, it can be really easily analyzed. And I'm very conscious about this. I'm a blogger, you're a blogger. I will put links to our LinkedIn accounts in a video description. But every time when you're posting something, you always have to remember what the circle of people you're posting this about, what information you're posting. And it's kind of really interesting part of this informational security, what people not understanding, because this is this kind of romantic floor of hacking, or choosing codes to penetrate firewall through the internet. It's all BS, I would say. It's more danger posting, more danger, more security danger coming from the people who is posting their house location or the Wi-Fi name of the Wi-Fi network, or their birthday, or something like that.
Yeah, we've just talked about it, right? About the posting of children's photos online. It's a completely different topic. Entirely different conversation. Yeah. I always also think, like, who would be interested in hacking me? But indeed, like this case with what was it, the Medibank breach, right? That was an employee apparently being hacked, and access was acquired for the whole system behind her. I don't remember computer. It was a, and I was also let me just close my door. My son came, brought me a bracelet for some reason, and didn't close the door behind him. We had a workshop recently on IT security at my company, my organization, and it was a very interesting point. Well, common sense, but we are, if it happens and you are hacked or someone get access or some breach occurs, we are victims in this case. We should not blame ourselves. Of course, it's a very serious situation and we have to report and everything, but at the end of the day, we are not the ones who have done something wrong. In most cases, we are victims of, let's say, social engineering. Yes, we clicked on that phishing email. We did enter our credit card details somewhere we shouldn't have to, but in the end of the day, we are the victims of all these bad practices.
At the same time, I think it's really kind of interesting. It's very interesting area. For example, when I'm auditing company, they usually have phishing training when they teach employees to differentiate normal email from the phishing email. Sometimes it could be tricky, and the company usually phishing campaign, the company usually creating those phishing email where employee can fall for 2 points of kind of errors. First is just open this email. I would say 3. Third, it's not identified but click on a link. And the third one is to enter the personal data on whatever request it has. But the interesting point is, if person fail this phishing attempt, it will create prompt for the refreshing phishing training, security training. And what most company is not understanding, what the data what we have from the phishing campaign should correlate with complexity of the phishing training. For example, the good results on a phishing campaign, it's from, I would say, 70% to from 40% to 70% fail. Because if it's less than 40%, it means all people recognize the phishing email what company created. And it means the training complexity is not aligned with the phishing campaign email. So the training was more complex, but the phishing email was really simple and obvious. And sometimes I can see quite opposite thing when people, 90% of people clicking on this email and entering data. And to be honest, you can create any tricky phishing email what everyone will click, even the most paranoid security professional, because you can just change, let's say, Latin or on Cyrillic or in the email, and nobody noticed this. So it can be as complex as it could be when you will not even be able to recognize this. The point is, the continuous improvement in ISO system require from you to do this continuous development. So it always should be developed. So it means you have to always increase the complexity of the phishing training to be able to recognize phishing email. And a phishing email should be always more complex, aligned with the training. And most of the time, company has similar level training, to not kind of adding any information in that. And they playing with the different complexity of the phishing email, either too simple or too complicated, and the numbers are different. But it doesn't show the real situation, because people still learning the same stuff. You just kind of trying to trick them in a different way. And from this perspective, it's not only not people fault, it's more like a testing of the different training approach. Is your training was working? Is the information was what you delivered in a training was actual, was current, not like from 10 years ago. And it's really interesting to look at that. I'm, for example, person who never click on a phishing email, but only for one reason. I don't have time to read my emails, and I have to tell the embarrassing truth. I have 200 unread emails. Maybe it's some phishing emails, but yeah, this is the only why I'm in the kind of right side of the numbers, not because I'm really good in recognizing phishing email, but this is kind of era also should be thought of, also should be accepted in a data analyzing. But there is some employees who cannot recognize probably phishing email. They just don't read emails, like, you know. So it's interesting. And
I wonder if there's any post campaign assessment, like a survey that evaluates this kind of correlations. Do you ever open your emails? Maybe you have a filter or something.
In our company, we have this kind of a survey, and I think it's really helping to the team who facilitate this phishing campaign and who do this survey. But I also want to say what ISO auditing, when you do ISO auditing, you have absolutely rare opportunity to see behind the scene of each companies and huge company, small company, and see how they do that. You cannot talk about this, of course, it's NDA, but it's really kind of enrich your own experience, how it should be implemented in your own company, or in your life, your freelance, I don't know, work. It's really give you different perspective, because sometimes companies can implement either security technique or AI on absolutely simple, elegant level, where they don't need very expensive software or very expensive security third-party services, but they kind of can do this on their own, and that's always surprised me. I'm always learning from each of my audits. When I do the audit, I kind of learning from each company.
Yeah, I was very surprised. I don't know why I was surprised, but I haven't logged in a pros.com website for ages. It's a website for translators. And because I had my own clients, I didn't really seek any agency work, but it's good for having your profile there. It's just a database of translators with a big community and so on. But when I last logged in, it suggested me to update my profile. And when I went to the profile, to the back end of the profile, there was actually a huge questionnaire about information security, which never existed before. Like when I joined 10 years ago, this website did not have this functionality, but now it actually has a long questionnaire about your IT security practices. Which is very similar to the questions the ISO standards cover. So I will not be surprised if it's going to have the same about AI use, because most translators use AI at some capacity, the machine translation or something else. So it's very interesting how the translation industry is also catching up with this.
Yeah, interesting. And I kind of I also see this part where the most heavily regulated companies who has a lot of requirements, finance, medical, research, some kind of company who has a lot of regulation, they are already on top of that because they pushed them by regulators, government agency, or their own customers. But the small companies, maybe not even small companies, the companies who's not really there, they still do some kind of crazy stuff in informational security when you suddenly receive a long questionnaire with all personal details, secret questions. Tell us your pet name, where you was born, and what was your childhood town. And you reading this was like, why I should tell you that? It's all my personal information. So, and you understand what they never came across need to know basis or the data security, data breach, and you think, oh my God, you're so naive. Like you will come there probably 3 years later, but right now I will not be sharing this information with you. And sometimes I'm really shocked what they asking, and you're sending this information to nowhere. You don't even know where they're storing that.
Or very many cases you see in daily life. Like I was at a pharmacy some time ago, and the lady in front of me was buying something, and the shop assistant asked her if she wants to join a loyalty program, and she's like, yeah, why not? And she gave all the information about her, like date of birth, what they ask usually, date of birth, full name, like first name, last name, date of birth, and full address, phone number, and I was standing just next to her.
Yeah.
I mean,
in US it's the same. In US, this pharmacy, I mean the small pharmacy network franchising, I think they have the most massive data breaches, data leaks, because as soon as you get something by prescription, you start receiving spam right away. And the same for the car maintenance, car services. They also kind of way behind on that.
When we went last year to Australia, we're trying to find a rental, we had to submit so many documents to the real estate agents. And of course, we were concerned, but we didn't have any choice. And started receiving spam emails. And it was clearly from them because, you know, you can use, if you have your own domain, you can actually build a new email which specifies where, you know, you just like, spam at Kamlovskaya.com. So you can see, like, if you put, I don't know, real estate at Kamlovskaya.com, you'll see if something comes from that. So you can see it's
oh my goodness, it's interesting, Katya, thank you. It's interesting idea. So you can create temporary email for this kind of application, and after you can see where your data actually leaked, what email they will be using. It's interesting. It's really interesting idea.
It's not even about creating a temporary email. It's like you add a prefix to your normal email. And,
and you can see,
I think it's a plus sign or something.
And you can see where it's coming from, where the data leak. Interesting. I will use it because it's a lot of really naive I don't know, companies who for some reason are not applying data privacy law, and they can ask you how a lot of the information, a lot of personal information, and never even tell you where it's going to. It's really strange sometimes, and especially if you see all this security, you start paranoid.
Indeed.
So let's talk because we just, for everyone, we planning with Katya to have this kind of talk, this podcast in the future on some topics where we will be discussing some topics from her perspective as AI specialist. Correct me if I'm wrong, in your area. As an AI specialist, and I will be maybe talking about security, data privacy, ISO application, and
I think we have a really I think we have a really interesting intersection of our expertise in many ways, because and also as a translator, I can also be positioned somewhere between all these areas now, which is really fun to think about.
It's interesting, and I think also we have kind of unique background when we lived in a different countries and we saw how business working in a different countries, because what I realized, most of the people who are immigrant, who kind of investing in this diversity, they're usually moving to the different country either on the level when they are students still, they are they were in a school in the born country, and they're moving to the country after the graduation, or start studying in a different country, for example, in US, and all their career built in US. So this is very rare than people actually working in the different countries and can compare. And we can compare that, and you also can compare the culture and languages, which is really amazing for me, because I think the language is kind of the soul of nation, culture and soul of nation. You start looking at this thing, I think, differently when you know the different culture on the level of deep understanding of the language. And in this area, your knowledge in Japanese language and Japanese culture has always admired me. And now you're studying French, right?
I studied French when I moved to Luxembourg. Also studied Luxembourgish for a bit. Now I'm on Spanish, actually.
Let's motivate each other.
I'm on my 29th day of Duolingo uninterrupted.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, we have to wrap it up for today, and we will meet again. If anyone who watching this video want to kind of ask us any questions, uncover any topics in AI informational security in Europe, in US, in Australia, please leave comments, and I will leave all links how to connect with us in a video description.
Yeah, cool. It was fun. I think, yeah, everyone feel free to get in touch with us, and it will be interesting to actually have a conversation with the audience too.
Yeah. Thank you, Katya. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Elena. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Ну, что, давай еще поговорим, я потом уберусь.
А что, нельзя остановить запись просто?
Подожди, да, можно же, можно.